Rita Rice Barnes, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all. We've been here now for one day. Our flight was 21 hours total, including the layovers. When we left the U.S., you will also hear from my husband, Bishop Jaward Barnes. He's going to co-share this space with me this evening. But he was in St. Louis, Missouri. I was in Houston, Texas. He left St. Louis, met me in Houston, Texas. We left Houston, Texas, flew to Chicago, short layover, left Chicago, went to Brussels, short layover, left Brussels, went to Kigali, short layover, and then we finally made it to Entebbe, yay! So we're really excited about that, to be back on the grounds of Uganda. Uganda has seemingly become a pronounced second home for us. I've been doing work here for a little over a decade now, and my husband has joined in with me. And so to all of the distinguished guests that are here, all of the fellow leaders, and most importantly, the vibrant youth of the continent of Africa, will you give yourselves a round of applause, please? I know that we have, I believe, at least 7 different countries that's represented here. Who's from South Sudan? Burundi? Congo? Kenya? What else did I miss besides Uganda? Rwanda? And there's one more before Uganda, right? Tanzania. We say Tanzania, right? I've been there before, yay. And then, of course, Uganda. All right now, all right. I would like to thank the National Prep Breakfast Committee, and also Honorable Atima Jackson and all of the team members of the Youth Leadership Forum for this opportunity to be here with you all for such a momentous occasion. I count it an honor to address the next generation of leaders of the world who have been groomed right here on the continent of Africa. And then all of those who have stepped into your potential, because you are not just the face of tomorrow, but you are the face of today. And with that being said, I know that the continent is rich and grooming many of you, all of you all, to be world-class leaders in your own right. And I am again excited to be right here in the Pearl of Africa. With that being said, I want to, so that you all can just kind of have an idea of who we are and what we do, I'm going to now invite my husband up, Bishop Jaward. You're going to come. We're going to just share a few minutes about our own personal stories with you all, so that, again, you can kind of share in the space with us.
Hey, okay, it's great to be here. My name is Bishop Jaward Barnes. I was originally, I want to talk a little bit about, when they asked us to come, one of the things that we were asked to do was share a little bit about our stories, and then we're going to do some interactive work, and then we're going to, but they asked us to talk about corruption, and that we would get there, and we're going to definitely get there. But I want to share a little bit about who I am. I was born in a little town in the Midwestern United States. And the little town was called Elkhart, Indiana. Anybody ever heard of a university called Notre Dame? Nobody's heard of Notre Dame? Okay, well, that lets me know that we think too much of ourselves in America, okay? Because I would have thought everybody. So I was born in that little town. My family was the second black family in that town. My father was born there in 1928. His father came there just before, right around World War I, which dates me a tad bit. As we began to be raised up, there were a set of issues in my community. My context is as an African American raised in Midwestern United States of America. And as such, being raised in that space, my my family had deep roots, but my father had a 5th grade education, and he had only gone to the 9th grade education, I'm sorry. My mother had an 11th grade education. In America, schools goes for 12 years. So both of my parents did not graduate from high school. My father had 5 jobs. He was a garbage man. He held a job he and his brothers owned a business where they plastered houses, and they did work like that. He had a junk business, and he was also a pastor, and he also held a business that we called a Sanford & Son business, where we did a lot of junking and things like that. And that's what my father did. So my father worked from sun up to sundown. Average about 20 hours a week, at least 5 to 6 days a week. He averaged about 20.
Is for East African youth today. I want you to talk to your neighbor about that. What do you think the biggest potential of East African youth is today? We're going to take about 5 minutes. And you add to everything that society has to offer. Then you have the older people. I'm not old, don't even think about it. But you have the older people that adds wisdom and that can bring knowledge to all of the energy and all of the brilliance and the youthfulness that you all have and all of the strength that you have. I have another question. This one is, when you think of Uganda's rich history, what moment or leader comes to mind? Anybody? When you think of the rich culture or history of Uganda, what moment or what leader comes to mind? Anybody? Anything? One back there. One brave young lady. Go ahead on, girl.
Me, the leader that comes to my mind is Emperor Menelik II of Ethiopia. Why? I commend him for his great work when he defeated the Italians in the 1936 Battle of Adowa. That was a sign that Africans do not need anyone to colonize us. So him defeating the Italians in the Adowa battle made him to inspire me in one way or the other.
Thank you. Now repeat that saying again.
Said
that Africans can't.
What I said is after him defeating the after him defeating the Italians in the Adowa battle, that was a great blow on the faces of Africans, that Africans were able to say that we can defeat these colonialists. If Menelik II was able to defeat them, we Africans can defeat. And we see that manifested during the reign of Emperor Haile Selassie. One of the reasons why Ethiopia was one of the African countries that was not colonized was because they were inspired by how Menelik II defeated the Italians. So they had the same spirit. If Emperor Menelik could defeat the Italians, even as we can. And we see Ethiopia being one of the African countries spearheading the decolonization of the rest of Africa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, this is Brian from Deja University. Yeah, the person I could regard as a leader, to me, it's Nelson Mandela, because his conceptual view upon the contribution for his part as a country achieving the best was paramount. He served as an example, and all these achievements do regret to that. And perhaps he showed us that everything comes to an end. All this is not all about leadership. It all comes to an end, as he showed his resignation to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The first leader that comes in my head, I'm not a history student, and most of the times I always think that the depictions that happen in nature sometimes are biased by history. But a president that I've witnessed clearly is John Magufuli from our neighboring country, Tanzania. for the good deeds that he actually did. He led Tanzania from 2015 to 2021 when he died. And as 15 years old, when he became president, so I was there to see the deeds that he did, the way he cut the government salaries, and the way he actually reduced on the tax burden on the expenditure of the government, and the way he created a free education system very fast and precise. And I think most of us here witnessed the good things he did before he passed away.
Thank you.
I want to do just, I think, two more things. We had so much information, obviously. You know, we can talk, you know, we do this stuff, we can talk for like days about this, right?
And we'll invite all you all for days.
And we'll invite you all to talk. But I think what I really like to see, you all named so many things topics that we would talk about. You already named them. I don't want to do that anymore, but it's a couple of things that I do, and I love what's the lady back there? What's your name again, miss? I love what Corey said, because you're hitting the nail on the head, okay? Of course, you already know. That's why you keep coming back, okay? You already know. I think we talked a lot about what it takes to have people. We described what corruption was. I think we even named some things, you know, embezzlement, bribery, all those types of things. Dr. Larita even named a couple of organizations that exist and talk about, but there are other organizations in this region that may be of importance. The Economic Financial Crimes Commission in Nigeria, Global Transparency International, which some people in this room may not find such a great thing. But so there are people that you can tap into, but what I heard you all say was that you have an imagination, but not just an imagination, but we talk about a prophetic imagination. Somebody say prophetic imagination. Now what I mean by, I'm not going to ask you because I know you can. A prophetic imagination means, can I think of things and do things that I have not seen? And can I be that powerful individual that I have not yet ever seen? And so I want to do two things, and then we're going to just close. The first thing I want to do is, we got to go back into groups because I believe in groups. I want you to get in groups, but this time I want you to get a little bigger groups. Like get in groups of like, because I know every group wants to, get in groups of like 5 to 8 people. And I want you to make a list, because I just had a young man tell me he expects to be the next president of a country. Wow. Now remember that the first black president in America had his roots where? In Africa. and our next president of color has her roots in Asia and in the Caribbean. So, you know, we understand that we know what this melanin is about, and we get it, okay? So what I want you to do is, I want you to go name 4 things that are good qualities for leadership. You said what you don't want in a leader. Now, what would good leaders have, and what would be qualities that they would embrace, and how would they show those qualities to the world? I want you to get in groups of 5 to 8 right now and take about 7 minutes, and then we're going to go to the next phase, and then we're going to close out. Group, turn back to your groups and get in groups to 5 to 8. If you got somebody that's not getting a group with you, just walk up to them and say, I want you in my group.
Being said, we were tasked with a topic to talk about the role of young leaders fighting in corruption in Uganda. The role of young leaders fighting in corruption or fighting against corruption in Uganda. I want to move to an icebreaker. And one of the things that I want to ask you, now you all have to be interactive. I know you all have had a very long day, but somebody say, we're here now. Say it again, we're here now. Okay, so we're going to have a little fun and do some things, okay? All right, so the first question that I want to ask is, what does corruption mean to you? Anybody? Raise your hand. talk. What does corruption mean to you?
To me means that a society that will not have any development will have poor services, educational services, poor health services, and poor infrastructure. Yeah, that's what corruption means to me.
Thank you. Thank you. We have one more right down there.
I think corruption means the use of public resources for personal gains or personal interest. So you're trusting someone with the public funds, money to build schools or whatever, but they use it for their personal reasons.
Yes, thank you. I see a hand in the back. What does corruption mean to you?
I'll call corruption as a misuse of funds and resources. In this regard, I'll put it to personal benefits or a certain group interest rather than benefiting the qualified people or the people related to the resources.
Thank you. Thank you. I see a hand right there behind you. What does corruption mean to you?
Uganda, in my opinion, corruption refers to the illegal and unethical misuse of public funds by the authorities in power for their personal own interests. Thank you.
Up here, they're coming to you. No, there, right there, and then here. What does corruption mean to you?
Very much.
Yes.
My name is Pasco from Rwanda. I was just confused with these two words, stealing and corruption. But let me just give my view about corruption. For me, I think corruption is about paying or buying your rights. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sheila from Uganda. In my opinion, corruption is when one misuses the power or resources that have been entrusted to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I see one hand, two hands in the back.
Hello, Yuku from DRC Congo.
Yes.
For me, I get a definition according to what we see, and also I can say corruption is just a lack of integrity. Yeah, and also I give just a correction like a darkness and integrity like a light. And also when just there is no integrity, there is corruption. When just there is no light, there is darkness. Thank you.
There is no light, there is darkness.
Deja University. Yeah, truly to me, I can regard corruption as a complex action that affects various sectors of the country, for instance, socially, economically, and politically. In more so, if it's economic, it will invoke in the bribery, and if it's political, it will erode out the trust that people regard to invest into the government. And if it's socially, it will be more into injustice, yeah, towards the people, their rights, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Kisero Kennedy from Kenya, Secretary General, Kenya Methodist University.
Yes.
I would love to define corruption in a different way.
Yes.
I would like to say it's the 95% animal that has killed Africa and regressed it to where we are, in the perspective of lack of integrity, misplaced priority, mismanagement of resources, and embezzlement of the few resources that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you repeat those last three?
I've tried to define corruption in my own way. I believe it is the 95%, it is the animal that has regressed the African continent by 95% through, one, misplaced priority,
lack
of accountability, mismanagement of resources, and embezzlement of the few resources that we have.
More, corruption to me also means the abuse of power.
Abuse
When
of
I
power.
say power, I mean there is social power, legislative power,
Okay.
and political power, among others.
Social,
Thank you.
legislative, political power. Yes, thank you.
Onga Richard is from Kenya, from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. According to me, corruption is a form of dishonesty.
Form of dishonesty.
A form
Yes.
of dishonesty that is practiced by those in power or in position to take charge or control over any resource around us or any human being that he sees as inferior before him or her.
And vibrant, and you add to everything that society has to offer. Then you have the older people. I'm not old, don't even think about it. But you have the older people that adds wisdom and that can bring knowledge to all of the energy and all of the brilliance and the youthfulness that you all have and all of the strength that you have. I have another question. This one is, when you think of Uganda's rich history, what moment or leader comes to mind? Anybody? When you think of the rich culture or history of Uganda, what moment or what leader comes to mind? Anybody? Anything? One back there. One brave young lady. Go ahead on, girl.
To the question, I do remember our first leader, that is Prime Minister Apollo Milton Obote. He led us to independence. Yes, he had his weaknesses, but generally he gave out his best for this country and the region in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. Even though I'm not from Tanzania, I feel he has played a very big role in Africa because he was one of the African leaders who fought for African unity, which I think as youth we are here today trying to address the same issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kevin Kiplangat from Chuka University, Kenya. When it comes to this one, I think of two Pan-Africanists, two leaders in Africa. Number one is Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, and the other one is Muammar Gaddafi. These people had a vision of uniting Africa so that we have the United States of Africa. And I do believe through some external powers, they saw how formidable we could be and decided otherwise against them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The first leader that comes in my head, I'm not a history student, and most of the times I always think that the depictions that happen in nature sometimes are biased by history. But a president that I've witnessed clearly is John Magufuli from a neighboring country, Tanzania. For the good deeds that he actually did, he led Tanzania from 2015 to 2021 when he died. And as 15 years old, when he became president, so I was there to see the deeds that he did, the way he cut the government salaries, and the way he actually reduced on the tax burden on the expenditure of the government, and the way he created a free education system very fast and precise. And I think most of us here witnessed the good things he did before he passed away.
Take your chairs and face the individuals who are behind you, in front of you. So here, your face there, here, there, back, and then face someone that's sitting behind you. So that back row, you'll turn your chairs, face those on the back row. I like this. This was the perfect shape for that. Is for East African youth today. I want you to talk to your neighbor about that. What do you think the biggest potential of East African youth is today? We're going to take about 5 minutes.
Turn back this way. Who's got the microphone? Well, who's walking with the microphone? I want to hear what you all heard. Anybody want to share what you said, what you shared in your groups? Can we get somebody here to write some of this stuff down for us? You got me, brother? Okay, thank you. We got a brother up. Let's give him our attention. Take your space, brother. Can everybody hear us? We got somebody up. We're starting back. Do y'all do that here? If everybody hear me, clap once. If everybody hears me, clap once. Okay, that didn't work out. Everybody hear me, clap twice. All right, there we are. We're together. I think somebody who wants to respond to what they talked about. There we go.
Our moderator for the day asked us a question. What do you think is the biggest potential of the East African youth today? So first things first, we tried to define what is potential. And according to our group, we say that potential is that ability that is not yet realized. Someone can do that thing, but they have not yet realized until they do it. So in East Africa, what are these hidden potentials that the youth in East Africa are having? The first potential we identified is strong network. When we talk about strong network, the potential, we realize that in most East African countries, the biggest population is being covered by the youth. So the network connection comes in a way that, by the mere fact that with the youth are the largest number in the population, we can easily influence others through the biggest networks that we have, because number one, most of these youth, they are school-going students. So we take advantage of that. We can reach out to different people. We talk to them, depending on whatever I want to talk to them about. Then the second potential is knowledge. In East Africa, we are at a higher advantage that most youth are educated people. So how does that become a potential? It becomes a potential in a way that the mere fact that someone is knowledgeable about something, we become aware of what is going on in our different African countries. For example, I'm a youth, I'm a citizen of Uganda, and the fact that I am educated and intelligent, I know that there is a vice called corruption that is eating up the country. That alone becomes a potential because I'm knowledgeable, I know what is going on. The second point is we decided to come up with this technology and innovation. When I talk about technology and innovation, the potential of the youth is realized when, because technology covers social media and all that.
Yeah. A student of Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. So we are presenting what are the biggest potential of East African youths today. One is our youths have realized themselves, the spirit of self-realization, meaning that they can be able to advocate for change in their different countries, not only in governance, but also in other areas of administration and leadership. Two, our youth are now educated, meaning that they are enlightened. They now have the knowledge on how different governments run the government institutions, and they can be able to impact change in those areas. Thirdly, our youth are also taking leadership positions, even to roles such as presidency. In some countries in Africa, we have the youngest presidents being youths. Even in our countries here in East Africa, we have youths taking leadership positions such as senatorial positions, governor positions, member of parliament, and even member of county assemblies. So that is our biggest potential to our youth, and we know that in the near future, we anticipate that 40 to 50% of our governments will be made by our youths. Lastly, our youths have realized the potential to run businesses within their countries. Our youth have realized that investments are not only for the old people. They can also chip in and get to to invest in various positions within the government. Yes?
Of our youth could are in leadership positions. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And we're saying that in Africa, we're beginning to have the youngest presidents in the world. So then, what do you think the role, and you all can answer this, what do you think the role of a group like this is going to be to impact that group against the things that this group just listed as being things that are bad things for our people?
Okay. For example, all the youths in this group, I anticipate and I am very sure that in the next few years, we will have them taking different roles in their countries. For example, myself, I'm seeing myself as the next president of Kenya in a few years' time.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm here, and I think this is true also for my husband. One of the reasons that we continue coming to support this is because of three things. One, we're expecting that the things you are learning, you're going to put into your system and into your heart. So we keep coming back to make sure every time we know there are new student leaders, we want to keep impacting the new student leaders and hoping that the former student leaders continue with the things that they're starting with. Number two, we expect that within this group, you will continue to form your small groups. Why is that important? Because the higher you go, the colder it gets, the more lonely it is. So the people you start with today are the ones who will help keep you accountable, pray for you, stand with you, walk with you. It doesn't matter that one was a student president in Nairobi, the other one was in Kampala. In fact, that group accountability across the region continues to help you raise the boats. So instead of just raising one boat, we are raising the level of the water in all the lake. So that all of you, your leader in Uganda, in Tanzania, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, all of you are speaking the same language, you're walking the same walk, and you're walking with each other, not against each other. And I think the third thing, and this is something really critical for us as African, and for you guys as African youth, is that you begin to learn the skills of reconciliation. And I think that's very important because it's very easy for people to come between you and make you hate one another. And I think Uncle Tim has talked about this over and over again. The power of reconciliation and what does that look like and what does that mean. So for me, this is what I'm looking at this group to do. This is where I'm expecting my children to find their spouses. So I'm here also partly selfishly because I want you guys to be good people. I want my people to be, to walk with young men like this. I say, I know one good man now. That one come and visit me for tea. But it is critical for those three things. One, learn reconciliation. Two, connect and keep your connections. And three, keep learning the things that we are teaching you. Thank you.
Members, we discussed a number of issues that contribute to our potential as the youth. And of course, as our colleagues have elaborated some of them, we the youth constitute around 60% of the population across East Africa. And then we also elaborated that we the youth in East Africa are bold and fearless. When you see, for example, the example of our brothers and sisters in the Republic of Kenya, they have done what they have done, and things are going to change in a nearby future. And this inspiration is spreading to all the youth around the region, and we are getting the light. And then we also shared about how we are educated and really exposed to a number of information across the divide. For example, most of the youth across the region are positively using the social media handles to expose the deficits in their respective countries, and the leaders are listening. So we are waiting for implementation. And then also, lastly, we also talked about the youth are flexible across the region. We connect with each other, engage with each other, and we are really hopeful going forward. That's what I can say from our engagement. Thank you.
Done.
So he was able to do this, do the same thing. He was running across the country, looking for those projects, and see this is a road. It was allocated for $1 billion, but the road they just put a maram and they went, and they like you find they spent like, let's say, 2 million, and the other 2 million that was put in other people's pockets. So the aspect of education, if it's used in the rightful manner, is the youth can use it very well and bring a positive impact in the society and reduce the corruption rate at a greater percentage.
On the potential that Africans have, especially African youth, and the first potential was the idea of raising awareness on the battle against corruption. We have seen a lot of youth come up to raise awareness. In Uganda, that was last month, we had a march to parliament whereby the youth were raising their voice against the corrupt speaker that we had. One of the placards that people were having were saying that her dress could pay for at least 10 oxygen cans in Entebbe, I mean in Murago Hospital. And these are the things that we think youth are good at. You saw what happened in Kenya last month when they were fighting the bill. Another thing that we were able to raise was the idea of crossing barriers of culture, tribe, in a way that our parents and forefathers did not. That is why right now we have more than 5 nationalities. But if you find us outside, it's as if we come from the same culture. It's as if we come from the same tribe. It's as if we come from the same parent. And that is one of the things that our youth in Africa have in as far as potential is concerned. And of course, the last one was the idea of using social media to air out our grievances, and of course also things that affect us.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Simon Richmond Chilabera is my name, and I'm the Guild President of Mutesa Dafaso University. I'm here to present on behalf of our group.
Thank you.
On what do we think is the biggest potential for East African youth today to fight corruption. One is the development of technology. We are in an era where you do something like in Uganda and you find out that people in Kenya are about of what you've done. So if effectively use technology to expose corrupt people, I think we shall be able to drive it away. Then secondly, the population. We are lucky enough that if you look around Africa, youths, we are the biggest percentage. We are many. That means that if we are united, youths with integrity can fight corruption together as one person and drive it away. Thirdly, education. We've got a chance that you are educated. Most of us are educated. We can easily tell what is wrong and what is right. A person who can identify corruption, who can give a definition of corruption, it means that he or she knows its impacts and effects. Therefore, such a person can't engage himself in corruption, which means that youth, we have the biggest potential. That's why, as I submit, I call upon you all to be one person, to become united, to fight it, because we can.
I'm the Vice Guild President of Ria University, and that is in Uganda. On behalf of our group, we've summed up everything and come up with one big point. And that greatest potential, we found out that it is influence. Ladies and gentlemen, you can all agree with me, you can all agree with us that there is no other group that is influential than the youth. We have almost the same explanations and examples. When it comes to social media, no one beats the youth when it comes to influence. When we when we look at what happened in Kenya, when they were saying no to the bill, and if we had to look at the people who were at the forefront of the demonstration, it were the youth. Even when the Ugandans tried to take the same direction, the people who were at the forefront were the youth. So that is why we concluded that influence beats them all. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Catherine Kemgisha. I'm the Guild Speaker of Ndeje University, and that's in Uganda. And on behalf of my group, we looked at the statistical figures in East Africa and the youth we are dominating, meaning we have potential towards power, authority, and influence in all the aspects of the economy.
And I'm the Vice President of Chuka University. It's in Kenya. And in our group, we identified this as the biggest potential for the East African youth today. And our point was, and it's closely intertwined with the point that, what's the name of that lady? The lady who spoke before the other lady said. And it's the capacity to mobilize for change, more so change in governance structure. And this, we had several points under this, and we said that this capacity to mobilize for change, being the biggest potential, is contributed by several factors. And one of them is the fact that the current youth in East Africa today have a change in their mindset. And it's brought about by the fact that a majority of them are well educated. And also that the fact that we are the majority, and that's why I was saying it's closely intertwined to whatever she was saying, that we have influence because we are the majority. And therefore, we can bring about change, and we can realize the capacity to mobilize for change smoothly.
We're co-sharing this space with you because the youth is the face of not just tomorrow, but the face of today. All across the world, youth are becoming empowered. You all are stepping into your brilliance. You're tapping into your skills and abilities and your giftings. And youth is on the rise. In every sector that you can think about, youth are on the rise. And so our role again here is to talk about the role of young leaders in fighting corruption in Uganda. And one of the things that I want to say and just echo, and I heard one of the young men on this side say, there are 5 nationalities here. Somebody say 5. Now I happen to love the number 5 because 5 means grace. Our church is empowerment of grace. 5 also means responsibility. And so there are 5 nationalities that's here that have been tasked with responsibility to step into your brilliance, to step into your power and your influence and be change makers and change agents for the generations to come. People will hear and read about you and the wonderful work that you are doing to better not just Uganda or Burundi or Rwanda or Congo or South Sudan or Tanzania, but all of the world will be able to benefit from your skills. So the role of young leaders in fighting corruption in Uganda, so we have 5 nationalities here, but you also said that when you all go out, you're the same. So today we're highlighting specifically around Uganda because of the topic, understanding that this information that we are sharing goes across genders, race, economic background, whatever your religious backgrounds may be or not be. So the importance of youth in Uganda, according to statistics, Uganda has one of the youngest populations in the world, with 78% of the population under the age of 30 and youth age 18 to 30 making up the largest demographic segment. You all said that. This highlights the critical role that young people play in shaping the future of this nation. The official definition of youth in Uganda encompasses individuals aged 18 to 30, but in some contexts it may extend to 15 to 35. Where is Uganda's youth residing across the country? Urban centers. A significant percentage of Uganda's youth live in urban and semi-urban areas, cities such as Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, Gulu, Mabaro, and highly populated with young people. These areas are hubs of opportunity, but also face serious challenges, including unemployment and poverty. Is that right? There's a challenge because of the large number of youth that are here, that there's a lack of employment, which means then the income is strained or not gained, and poverty exists, sometimes in large amounts. In the rural population, many youth are concentrated in cities. A large proportion still reside in rural areas where they face different but equally significant challenges, such as limited access to education and, again, economic opportunities. What kind of activities? I want you all, what kind of activities are youth involved in? You said technology, creative graphics. What are some other things? What was that? The lack of information, yes. Many youth are enrolled in formal educational institutions, but with the rising number of graduates each year, the job market cannot absorb them all, contributing to high unemployment rates. Entrepreneurship. Uganda has one of the highest rates of youth entrepreneurship in Africa. Young people are finding innovative ways to start small businesses in fields such as, you all said it earlier, technology, agriculture, retail, and creative arts. You all mentioned about social media and advocacy. Ugandan youth are highly active on social media, and not just Uganda. I heard Kenya, Tanzania, Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi. Did I miss something? Congo, thank you, Congo, yes, Congo. Social media and advocacy. Ugandan youth, again, are highly active on social media platforms, using tools for networking and raising awareness, advocating for change on platforms such as, I still say Twitter, but now they call it what? Y'all know that, like, yeah, I still haven't wrapped my mind around it. I just still like to say Twitter. But anywho, Instagram and have become a key way for young people to express their dissatisfaction for corruption or dissatisfaction with corruption and promote transparency. Then you have youth-led organizations. Call out some names of some youth-led organizations. Youth-led organizations. African Leadership Youth Forum. Anything else? Okay, we're gonna keep it in the family. No problem, no problem. No. Youth-led organizations. Many Ugandans or young Ugandans are actively involved in civil society organizations like African Youth Leadership Forum that focus on governance, democracy, and anti-corruption efforts. Then the role of youth in fighting corruption. Uganda ranks poorly on the Global Corruption Perception Index, consistently identified as one of the major challenges hindering national development. Corruption drains public resources, it limits opportunities, and perpetuates inequality. It affects services that young people depend on, like education, you all said healthcare, unemployment opportunity, and employment opportunities. As we travel across this world, me and my husband together have been advocates for Uganda for well over a decade, raising awareness of its potential, the beautiful land sites that are here, all of the amazing young and older people, all of the widows, the orphans, all of the ground and the big business and all those things that can happen right here in Uganda. It is our desire to raise the national profile of Uganda so that the floodgates will open and be full of people bustling to get here to do big business, bustling to get here to intertwine with our youth and partake of the brilliance that you all have and the change that's taking place, again, that will affect generations to come for the betterment. We want people to get here to engage in the agriculture. First of all, y'all have the best pineapple ever in the world. I mean, like, wow. I know there's 4 other nationalities here, but when I come here, I mean, even in America, like, it's like sour. I don't even know what they're doing. Like, I wish I can just like pick up, you know, some of the pineapple forms and just take, but they won't even like let us take it out. That's work that we can work on. How can we get fresh fruit from here to America? Like, instantly. It's healing in the food all across the continent. I just wanted to say that. But we want people to come to engage in peer exchanges and roundtables and workshops, all fostering transformative conversations that will lift up generations. Youth as agents of change. Young people, as I mentioned earlier, have the energy, the creativity, and moral integrity to combat corruption. I'll say it again. Young people, youth, have the energy, the creativity, and the moral integrity to combat corruption. According to my faith, the Bible says that God has called the young because they are strong. And that translates across many different religions and backgrounds, and even those that may not believe that the youth are strong. There is a natural innocence of the young. You all are already leading efforts by raising awareness. Youth can use, again, their social media influence and advocacy to raise awareness. The youth can also become eyes and ears so that you're able to hear and plan and talk and sit with your leaders and your elected officials and share your thoughts. Participating in governance, young people must stand and have greater representation in decision-making platforms and becoming local leaders and participating in governance forums and joining in so that you can ensure that accountability and transparency are prioritized. Strategies for fighting corruption, education on integrity. You all talked about integrity. Some places are forming like integrity clubs. What does it look like to have a club where you are fostering conversations around transparency and accountability? Educational programs that promote anti-corruption messages along with government accountability should be implemented at community levels and in your schools. Maybe you're developing a curriculum that you can share with the old and young alike. Youth-led monitoring and evaluation, where you can lead initiatives to monitor the use of public funds, that you can create networks where youth volunteer tracks government projects and ensure that they are implemented with transparency. And then technology and innovation. Young innovators can develop platforms, mobile apps. Who in here can develop mobile apps? Anybody? Not in this group? Okay. Mobile apps, crowdsourcing on, and real-time tracking of things that are happening in order to raise awareness. Youth also participating in local and national elections that ensures that voters can cast their votes who can prioritize, again, integrity and accountability. You notice that I'm mentioning integrity, accountability, transparency. That was the theme that many of you all were putting out there, because all of that make up what we would call a just society or equality or equity, right? Then a new wave of leadership. We have 5 nationalities in here. Somebody shout 5. 5, okay. 5 nationalities. Corruption will not be defeated without the involvement of honest and committed leaders. The young, honest, and committed leaders. Older folk who are honest and committed leaders. And the youth must prepare to take on leadership roles, not only to fight corruption, but to rebuild the fabric of Ugandan society, or Kenya, or Rwanda, or Tanzania, Congo, Burundi, Rwanda. Shaping Uganda's destiny depends on how the youth approach the fight against corruption. Shaping Africa's image, your culture, the environment, everything about it depends on how the youth fight. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that the next generation inherits a Uganda or a Kenya or whatever region you're from or country that is just, equitable, and transparent. Somebody shout transparent. Come on up. Yes. Yes.